Prepare to experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply, it's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Superhuman Radio. We are not on YouTube today. We've been punished for a show that I did 2 years ago. YouTube likes to do this sort of stuff. I feel like it's a medal of honor because we talk about the truth and we get labeled as spreading medical misinformation. If anything, the medical misinformation has been coming from social media platforms, as now has been proven after 2 years of abuse by them. But we will be back on YouTube Friday for those of you. And all these shows that we're doing right now will be up there at that point in time. We're doing a fascinating show today when it comes to brain health, cognition, nootropics, a very, very exciting category of supplements today that are having profound effects on a variety of different people who suffer from brain issues, loss of cognition, loss of memory, or just wanting to improve to be a superhuman and operate at a very, very high level of performance. And we're going to be talking with Mr. Noots today. And we're going to be discovering something that you may not attribute the idea of improved cognition and brain function to. Before we get started, we have to thank our title sponsor, and that's Legendary Foods. Check out their new sweet rolls. They come in cinnamon, chocolate, and wild berry. If you want to experience a Cinnabon without crapping inside your body and destroying it with loads of sugar and unwanted stuff, these will make you think you're eating crap, but you're not, because the Legendary sweet rolls taste delicious. 20 grams of high-quality protein, 1 gram of sugar, 5 net carbs. Check them out. Use the code SHR10. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and save 10%. Don't forget to check out the tasty pastries while you're there because your kids love Pop-Tarts, and this is the answer to that. And without further delay, let me get my buddy on here. Mr. Noots, otherwise known as Mark. How you doing, brother?
Oh, fantastic, Carl. Hey, do I look distorted to you? Because I look distorted to me.
Yeah. You're if you want to try something, refresh. Just hit refresh on your browser. Just hit the refresh button, and we'll stand by. This happens sometimes. I'm aware of it. I even have to do it before my show starts sometimes for myself, and he'll be able to log back in here in just a minute. We're going to be talking about a product that I love, and I have a special way of consuming it that I think everybody will enjoy learning about in just a moment. Give him a minute. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go.
I had a stunning 480p resolution somehow happened there. It was great. We would have been back in PC Paint land if we stayed there.
Yeah, remember those days? You know, there was a great television show back in the day, and I just had the name in my head, and it's gone now. But it used to be Max Headroom. Remember Max Headroom?
Oh, God. Yeah.
Everything would pixelate. Like, they actually exploited the inadequacies in streaming video back then and made it part of the show. It was fascinating, wasn't it?
It was very smart. Hold on just a sec, Carl. Hold on.
Okay.
That was interruption dog.
Yeah, that's good. You know, ever since COVID, everybody's doing video interviews from home, and we got to see lifestyles, and we heard babies crying, and it really, I think it made video much more interesting and less polythene. You know what I mean? People.
Yeah. It can get kind of sterile with as much polish as we put on things these days.
Yeah, and you know, One of the accusations about my show is that I'm one of the few people that do a live podcast. So it's unedited, no post-production editing. Things crash during the interview, stuff happens. And I actually think someday, maybe 20 years from now, people will actually come to appreciate the show more. Because it's kind of like C-Spanish, you know what I mean? It's like you get it all. Whatever went wrong, you also see that.
all, all the politics, none of the boredom.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Entertaining. So let's talk about a product that I love. And before we talk about it, I have to be selfish and show you how I consume it. If you haven't heard this already, I sent this to Wade a couple of weeks ago. We're going to talk about a product called, good, you say it, Collagenius. Okay, this is how I consume it. Watch this. Watch. Look at the camera.
Oh, nice.
Those are my Collagenius pre-workout chocolate patties that I eat.
Man.
I just take a tablespoon of coconut oil. I put it in the microwave literally for 10 seconds, and I pour 3 scoops, so 1.5 servings of Collagenius into it, and then I also put 5 grams of creatine in it, because I feel like I'm cheating when I'm eating a piece of chocolate first thing in the morning. And I eat those before I go to the gym, and I love them. They are delicious. They have such a rich, I think we need to discuss, this isn't just cocoa powder. This is actually cocoa butter powder. So it's so rich and decadent. It's like an unbelievable chocolate you've never tasted, right?
So are we talking about a fat bomb here?
Technically, yeah, pre-workout fat bomb.
From on the keto world, in the keto world, we'd call that.
With mushrooms, right? With a lot of other stuff. Talk about it.
Big time.
Collagen and okay. So I love them. I literally takes about 10 minutes to make. I make it and then I put it in the freezer. And when I take my shower, I come out, I eat it, and then within a half hour I go to the gym.
Oh, I love it, man. Are you still lifting heavy?
Yeah, as heavy as I can. Yeah.
No, it's been really interesting. I'm 61 now, and I think we talked about this at one time. Is my desire to lift heavy is still there, and there's these moments of dopaminergic activity that have me pushing levels that I had never achieved in personal best when I was younger.
Yeah,
it's kind of encouraging.
I think as we age, it's more important to lift heavy. Now, I don't mean stupid heavy, right?
Right.
I'm not squatting like I used to squat. I have injuries that I'm nursing, but I definitely challenge myself every workout. I'm huffing and puffing, and I'm moving heavy weight by any standard. But I also train for less time. 60 minutes to 45 minutes is I'm done.
Yep.
Because Mike Mentzer was a champion of this theory, but the stronger you are, the longer you have to rest. And even though I'm enhanced, I'm on hormone replacement therapy. I have a prescription for growth hormone. I do 1 to 2 IUs 5 days a week. I use various peptides that help my recovery dramatically. I don't want to crush myself, because last night I had a horrible night's sleep. No matter what I take, when I trained 4 days in a row, very, very aggressively. And I knew it. I said to Elisa yesterday, I am definitely overtrained. Tonight's sleep is going to suck. And generally, for me, I get to sleep fine. I wake up about 2:30 in the morning, and I just have to stay up for a little while, and then I fall back to sleep. But that's the overtraining. My central nervous system is really tweaked at that point in time.
Yeah. Getting the parasympathetic back in line is really key, especially when you've been pushing the sympathetic side so hard. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I'm in the gym, my focus is intense. My commitment is high. I am brutal on the metal, and it's the only way I can do it and still feel like I'm a human being.
All right. Yeah. I'm going to be 65 in a couple months.
Love it.
And I'm growing right now. I am absolutely growing, but I'm getting leaner too, because I've changed my diet. I'm just eating 3 meals a day, but I'm still hitting 180 to 200 grams of protein a day.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Are you processing it well? Are you digesting it well?
Very well. Yeah, fantastic. Very well. But I eat almost exclusive. 80 to 90% is animal protein, eggs, beef, pork. I love pork. I think pork is a hidden better choice than beef. I think the pork industry has done a horrible job at looking at pork the way we look at beef. Like there's 50,000 various nutrients from polyphenols, vitamins, minerals in beef.
Yeah.
And my theory is since pork is more like humans, right? We use porcine thyroid. We use pig hearts to replace hearts and valves. And so pigs and humans share a great deal of the same complexity of our biology. And my theory is that unlike cows, pigs are omnivores. So they eat grass, they eat truffles, they eat chickens, they eat snakes.
Anything you give them.
Yeah, and I really think that if the pork industry spent the time that the beef industry has analyzing beef, pork, the way we've analyzed beef, they go, holy crap, like everything that a human needs to live is in there. And I've talked about this before, and I know a lot of people get disgusted when I say this, but theoretically, cannibalism is frowned upon as a human construct. But if you're going to eat meat, the best meat to eat is humans, because they have everything that you need to sustain life. Now, that's a vulgar thought. I know that people don't want to hear me say that, but pigs are the closest things to eating human flesh. And so I really think that pork is magic if people would catch on and do what they've done with beef and study it and go, wow, like this has everything beef has, plus it has some other stuff because they're omnivores.
Right. Oh yeah. And in fact, but just remind me, Carl, next time we're on an airplane, I want to be in the separate section for you just in case it goes down.
Yeah. I am a fan of I'm a fan of the Donner Party.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Collagenous. How did you arrive at this wonderful product? And let's talk about what's in it that makes it so special. Because collagen is really popular right now, but you get so much more than just collagen in this product.
Well, yeah, and there's the other side of that, Carl, is that I think collagen has been mislabeled, just like pork has been mislabeled. Collagen's been pigeonholed as a skin and tendon solution, kind of completely ignoring the cognitive benefits, right? So, and that's a real critical one. The genesis of the product was really interesting. I was making high potency mushroom capsules in order to help people on their long-term cognitive benefit kind of path. And the one thing I love about some of the great mushrooms, of course, lion's mane, chaga, red reishi, is that they raise your baseline cognitive performance level. The BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, is a key component of that, meaning that it's fertilizer for the brain. It helps you to grow new neurons and really improve the that kind of neural connective tissue, so to speak. So I'm building these capsules. My sweetheart Chastity, who I think you've had some dialogue with as well, by the way, she's
a talented artist, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, and a super fan of the Carl Lenore. She is also in agreement that Joey Diaz and you need to get together and do a
that
duet.
Would be an entertaining show, wouldn't it? Because we have the same background, but our lives just kind of parted.
Yes, bit of a divergence.
Yeah. I love the guy. I love listening to him.
That's awesome, man. Well, you are, in a certain way, you are him. You're as an homage, I think, to Joey.
Yeah.
So I'm making these highly concentrated capsules, working from originally starting with 1-to-1, like pure mushroom extract, to just grinding up mushrooms, and then starting to do what's called a 2-part extraction, where you use water and then use microporous membranes to kind of and a sonic extraction technology to remove certain, or not remove, but to isolate certain molecules from the mushroom so that you can actually get these different performance characteristics, and then remix them into some of the raw product to make it so it's really bioavailable. While doing this, we noticed as we got 20-to-1 and 50-to-1, and then eventually 100-to-1 concentration of the mushroom, meaning that a pound, like 100 pounds of raw mushroom would become a pound of effective mushroom isolate. Right. Chastity noticed that it had really chocolatey, cocoa-y, coffee-ish overnotes, and she, a 5-star chef, the other part is she has a Pinterest site up. If it's not a full day, and it's kind of great. She would love your chocolate, by the way. So your morning.
Yeah,
But
my
anyhow,
morning
she,
chocolate.
she's oh yeah. Well, she started cooking it up. She started blending it up. We arrived at Dave Asprey's biohacking event in Florida and handed big bullets, these big plastic bullets of this what we now call Collagenius blend to our business partners Matt and Wade and then the rest of the people that were kind of walking by. An immediate hit, and we needed to productize it and turn it into something that would benefit people at a much higher level. And it's not just mushrooms, it's not just collagen. It is a really, really unique matrix of components. And it's all organic, all natural. And, we now have we've successfully added components to it to make it even more powerful.
So a lot of people don't understand mushrooms. I think they discount the effectiveness of mushrooms aiding and affecting the brain, but then they know that magic mushrooms will make you trip. So talk about lion's mane. What's the magic about lion's mane? Is there a specific chemical in lion's mane?
There's a number in lion's mane. There's a number of components. Yeah, heresianines and some of the other extracts that make it really, really powerful. Excuse me. And beta glucans. Everybody knows about beta glucan, but it's a very popular component. The thing is, mushrooms are individually their own little symphony.
Mm-hmm.
Each mushroom has a combination of typically 4 to 5 key molecules that make them kind of powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And as you start exploring those nutrients or those components of it, you start to see how they validate each other and they potentiate each other. And that's why each mushroom, if you take an individual mushroom, lion's mane is known as a cognitive performer. It's also great for sleep, right? So you get the beta glucans in there, and then you've got these heresianines and heresianones. And these are really, really interesting compounds that pass the blood-brain barrier, that have both enzymatic and nutritional effects on the brain. And they also do cognitive function. They don't just do this kind of BDNF, this brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is, again, fertilizer for the brain, but they also help to clean up and do some of the housekeeping that the brain wants to do on a regular basis. If you don't do the housekeeping, I guarantee you'll run into cognitive challenges later on. So really key. And then, of course, adaptogenic activity that happened with the mushrooms as well. So being able to control cortisol levels and being able to basically keep the body in balance. It's amazing how these fruits of the earth are so powerful, and very much like you were mentioning pork early on, is they seem to have an affinity to the human biology and physiology. So, right, easy to digest, easy to intake, very effective. You can live on them. They're one of the richest, polyphenol inhabiting substances on Earth. And and they go down easy. Here's one of the things I want to mention, Carl, right up front is this mushroom drink that we've created. Again, I was making pills out of it because I was looking for a way to ingest these that wasn't going to be mushroomy. But as we got down to the extraction levels, you'd be hard pressed to even sense in any way that there are mushrooms in this blend.
Right. Yeah. You can't take, I don't taste the mushrooms at all. And some of these mushrooms have very distinct flavors and even aromas that would be picked up by somebody, but they're masked. I want to talk about collagen for a second.
Yeah, man.
So there are studies coming out now talking about collagen and cognition.
Yep.
But I want to mention something to people that they may not realize, but collagen is about 30% glycine by weight. All collagen, whether it's plant collagen, whether it's animal collagen. And this, in my humble opinion, is where some of the magic is about collagen, because we have people out there. I started talking about, so I talked about glycine 9 years ago as a sweetener substitute. I said, you can use glycine if you don't use too much. If you use too much, you get some metallic aftertaste. But if you use just enough, it can sweeten coffee. You can sweeten anything with it. And I used glycine. Well, I still do. I use glycine before bed because it has some magic we're going to discuss. But So if you take caffeine in the morning, add your caffeine, whatever your choice of, if you're using caffeine anhydrous or whatever, have it with your collagenous, because here's why. You won't get the jitters you characteristically get because glycine increases brain GABA more than taking GABA.
Yes.
Number one. And number two, it's one of the few highly glycogenic amino acids, which means that it will undergo gluconeogenesis quickly and efficiently, and it doesn't require a lot of metabolic energy to do so. So, especially at night before bed, glycine will carry you through those hypoglycemic dips for somebody who's already starting to become metabolically broken and let them sleep all night. I started talking about this almost a decade ago, and people are starting to get it now. But glycine is a byproduct. It's in the collagen. Your body breaks it down and uses it, so it'll make you relaxed, but not dopey and sleepy, and it will give you energy when you're training because it will convert to glucose quickly and effortlessly as needed. Now, don't interpret that as, oh, glycine is going to make my blood sugar go up and make me, no. Gluconeogenesis is a highly energy derived process metabolically. Your body doesn't just convert it to sugar willy-nilly. There has to be a demand because the process happens in the liver, and it's got to be like, hey, you got to make glucose because we're running out. But if you're training hard and glucose starts to dip, glycine will carry you through that workout. A lot of people don't realize this. So that the collagen in this product is magic, in my humble opinion. Mixing all this together with collagen is like having a governor saying, you do this, no, now you better do that.
Absolutely. And they're cooperative as well. By the way, that was very well said. For people that have used xylitol, which is a sugar alcohol in their system, this glycine is safe, it's effective, it has multiple benefits to you. And when you talked about GABA activity in the brain and how glycine is a precursor to that and works really effectively, as well as a signaling molecule to that, it's such a powerful tool. There's some research on ADHD and ADD and stress, where glycine becomes a core, especially used repeatedly. It starts to build up levels and responsiveness in the cognitive process, and it works great. We actually have it as one of the core components of our sleep breakthrough product as well.
I know, and that's why I think the product is so amazing. So one other thing I want to mention about, and then I don't want to belabor it, but if you take back in the day when I first started training, 20 years ago, the thing was at bedtime, take 5 grams of GABA, and it would literally raise growth hormone 500% or 5 times. But it came with this phenomenon. You would get paresthesia in your hands and feet. They'd start getting numb. And then you'd have this rapid feeling that you need to breathe.
Right.
That won't ever happen with GABA, with glycine, because the body uses glycine on demand. It's not just like getting a big hit of GABA. It's governed by the body's demand. Yeah. So it's just an amazing thing. Collagen is so amazing. And then let's not forget, part of the anabolic matrix is collagen. If you're not consuming collagen, your muscles will never grow as big as they can.
Oh, absolutely. Plus tendon strength, recovery. These are critical components to being old guys like us who are young and plan to have quite a few more years ahead of us.
I want to put this up just real quick. So the product is called Collagenous. It's a great name. It's a collagen and mushrooms, but it's also an amazing form of cocoa. And I want to talk about that in a minute. If you go to shrnetwork.biz/bioptimizers, you'll not only find Collagenous there, but all the other products offered, all the other nootropic products and supplements, and you use the code SHR10 for 10% off, and that's site-wide. But you can pick up Collagenous there. I'm telling you right now, Elisa loves it because it's so rich and chocolatey. Talk about the chocolate. You didn't use just regular cocoa powder. You use cocoa butter powder. Talk about that.
Yeah. So we've got Dominican and Peruvian cacaos in there as well, because We found that one, and of course there's some MCT, there's C8 and C10 in there as well. And then we use what's really cool is on top of the chocolates, the cacao. You have these cocoa notes that are naturally emitting from these mushrooms.
Right.
You can take a lot of people that have done, if anybody's done lion's mane, you know that as you extract it, as you get towards that 50%, anywhere from 1 to 10 or 10 to 1 to 50 to 1, you'll notice that it's naturally sweet and has some really great overtones. It doesn't taste mushroomy. But then you add chaga, cordyceps, and red reishi to it, and at these different ratios, basically 100 to 1 for those, you get this incredible blend of cocoa notes combined with chocolate notes. Well, we didn't want to mask everything. We didn't want to cover all of that. What we wanted to do was amplify it and build a really clean palette for it. And that's where the cacao, the Dominican cacao and Peruvian cacao come in. Really, really incredible. And they weigh in at the right ratios, and they've got incredible antioxidant properties and, again, adaptogenic properties. And then there are micronutrients in there that also help the mushrooms become more bioavailable. And also the mushrooms have micronutrients that help the collagen become super bioavailable. And also help naturally break down the amino acids. Collagen is a really, really perfect form of amino acid matrix of protein. So having that works really well.
Yeah. No, it's very cool. All right, we're going to take one quick commercial break. We'll be right back with more. Stay tuned. You are listening to and watching Superhuman Radio. Great sleep upgrades you on virtually every level: body fat, muscle mass, mood, brain function, and countless other ways. But taking melatonin alone isn't the answer. Thanks to a brand new sleep formula developed by my friends at Bioptimizers, you can experience the best night's sleep ever. Sleep Breakthrough is a delicious sleep drink that supports your natural melatonin production and relaxation without creating a dependency, so you can have the best night's sleep on demand. It targets 5 different sleep pathways to give you the best sleep ever. And best of all, you'll wake up feeling rested and rejuvenated so that you can have the best day possible. For an exclusive offer for my listeners, go to sleepbreakthrough.com/SHR and use the code SHR10 for 10% off. Plus, you can unlock special gifts with the value of at least $20. This is a limited time offer, so go to sleepbreakthrough.com/SHR right now.
Dogs should be powered by fat and protein, not carbs. That's why Visionary Pet makes low-carb, ketogenic dog food for dogs of all breeds and life stages. From kibble to freeze-dried and even low-carb treats, all Visionary Pet recipes are very low-carb, ketogenic, and made with 100% real meat protein. Shop now and use code SHR for 20% off your first order today. Your dog deserves the lifelong benefits of optimal nutrition. Make the switch to Visionary and see why smart dogs eat low carb.
Remember those rectangular toaster pastries you used to love when you were a kid? Well, Legendary Foods has just made them better. The new cake-style tasty pastry is like nothing you've ever had before. With 20 grams of high-quality protein and less than 1 gram of sugar, you'll feel like you're cheating, but you're not. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use the code SHR10 to save 10% off your purchase of tasty pastries. Now available in cookies and cream, red velvet cake, birthday cake, blueberry, strawberry, brown sugar cinnamon, and hot fudge sundae. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use code SHR10 today. There are lots of concerns about food supply today. That's why you need White Oak Pastures. White Oak Pastures will deliver food right to your doorstep. You don't even have to go out and be disappointed by shopping in grocery stores. The finest beef, pork, lamb, duck, and more can be found at White Oak Pastures. And now they even have seafood. And best of all, White Oak Pastures has a negative carbon footprint, which means that you don't have to feel guilty for eating your ribeye. Go to shrnetwork.biz/white oak and use the code SUPERHUMAN to save 15% off.
You're listening to the Superhuman Channel. We're ripped and we're ready.
Welcome back. We're talking about this new product, Collagenius. We're going to talk more about it in a second. I want to also mention something to the listeners. There is an organ meat that you should be eating It's actually called sweetbreads. This is the cow's thymus glands. They look like little loaves of bread, as you can see. And we've talked a lot about peptides on this show for years. The reason you should buy this and use it, and I would use it in stews and soup, so it's cooked in a slow, low heat. It's filled with thymic peptides. Thymosin beta-4 is probably the most important peptide anybody older could be taking. I've talked on the shows about years and years ago about switching neonatal genes back on to repair organs. Thymosin beta-4 does that. There's numerous studies I talked about on a show last week. So you don't have to buy peptides and inject them if you don't want to. You can just include sweetbreads, but you got to make sure. So some places list pancreas as sweetbreads, but they're not. Real sweetbreads are thymus gland, and they're called sweetbreads because they look like little fleshy loaves of bread. That's really why they call them that. Pancreas doesn't look like that. But White Oak Pastures is now making available to my audience real sweetbreads, and you should buy them, and you have to soak them in water or milk for about 2 hours. It was Mark, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on now. Yep.
Oh, so that whole thing I just did was nobody heard it, most likely. Okay, so go out and buy sweetbreads at White Oak Pastures. This is thymus gland. Make them in stews. You have to soak them in water or milk for 2 hours before you use them, but start including them in your diet because they're full of thymic hormones and peptides, and thymosin beta-4 is the most important peptide you can use as you age. That's it. That's all I was going to say.
Agreed.
I'm sorry. I didn't even realize the audio wasn't coming through. So talking back about Collagenous, what works best with Collagenous? If you wanted to stack it with something that's available at the shrnetwork.biz / bioptimizers, what would you use?
Well, so I have a couple ways. Like this morning, I had it in a cold coffee. And the reason cold coffee rather than hot coffee is hot coffee will break down the collagen, not necessarily a negative at all.
Right.
But I wanted to have the lasting elastin effects of collagen and not reduce those. So that's a really good one. And I do a typical butter coffee in the morning. So with some C8 and C10 and
Right.
A little bit of ghee, and blend that all up with a little whisk. And I'll tell you, man, it's great. One of the cool things that I really haven't emphasized enough is at the 18 grams of roughly 18 grams per dose or per serving of Collagenous, you're getting almost 1.5 pounds of pure mushrooms. So it's a great way to have a concentrated benefit, and you actually feel the benefits come on very quickly. You'll feel these brain sparkles as the neurogenesis is happening, kind of a cool effect. And the other thing you'll find is within about 2 hours, you'll find that verbal fluency is dramatically enhanced. That's a key. That's a hint or a clue that there's some really positive activity happening. There's, one of the things when you take a look at each of the mushrooms and how they benefit you, combined with the cocos, combined with the collagens, and we have grass-fed collagen, we've got marine collagen. We're looking at a couple of other eggshell collagen as well, and some other components. But one of the things I want to mention is that we are constantly innovating on this product. We don't. One thing about bioptimizers and Nootopia is we don't park the car and expect that to deliver for the rest of your lives. We typically do 3 or 4 iterations per year. We do 2 major ones and we do a series of minor ones because there are new discoveries coming out every day, not only from universities and research labs and medical institutions and people that are doing really cool stuff literally in their garages, but we have 20 full-time PhD and PhD candidates in Bosnia that they are dedicated totally to. They work specifically for bioptimizers and Nootopia, and all they do is research for us. So, in fact, this morning at 9 a.m. this morning, Central Time here, Matt Gallant, our CEO, and I are on a Zoom call with the key scientist in that division. So we got a molecular docking specialist. We have a molecule designer who literally is currently right now making a key unique molecule that we'll be putting together and releasing onto the market. And what they did is they had a few thousand data points that they had assembled just over the last week on some biofilms, some potentiation molecules for things that we're doing. And and that goes for Collagenius as well. One of the things I want to mention on Collagenius is we did a really, really deep dive into how do you sweeten things in a natural way that isn't going to negatively affect, your glycemic index, not going to take that and get your insulin off the charts or any kind of spike. And we discovered this solution called Katemfe, which is a West African protein, actually. It's about 3,000 times more sweeter than sugar. And it's very positive, has a bunch of positive benefits as well. But you use a very tiny amount of that. And not that we needed a bunch of sweetness, but just a little to be able to make it so that you can, if you add it to coffee, it tastes great. It tastes like a mocha. If you just mix it with water, it works great. I love the fact that you're making fat bombs out of it. I think that is such a cool application, and I'm actually so excited. I just texted Chastity and said, "Hey, the Carl Lenore, the chef, is at it, and so we're going to make some of those up in the next couple of days."
Yeah, I mean, they're delicious and they're fast to make. You can make them at home, and literally 10 minutes they're done. You just warm up a little, about a tablespoon, one of those plastic tablespoons, full one of coconut oil, and then mix 3 scoops of Collagenius in with it, and one scoop of creatine. Put it in the freezer in whatever shape you want to make it, and literally 10 minutes later you can eat it and then go to the gym. I love them. And I feel like I'm a kid. I feel like, well, your mother used to say you can't have chocolate in the morning. Well, now I can. Nobody's watching. I can do it. I want to ask you a question about something else. If you would give us a peek behind the curtain on DHEA.
Oh, I love it.
I'm assuming it's a new modified form of DHEA with the he in it. Is it made for men specifically so it doesn't aromatize to estrogens? Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because we've got DHEA and DHCA.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And that came as a result of again, I'm 61 years old, and for the last 12 years or so, I started in 1999. I started working on testosterone solutions that were exogenous, that weren't going to downregulate your own gonadal production of testosterone. And you being on TRT, you know what that's all about. You got to
backload the ones that aren't being produced because the testosterone is saying, "Hey, I don't need any more of that," but you still do.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. So my test had fallen to the low 300s, and I was dissatisfied. I just turned 40 years old, and I was newly single and going, I think I need to fix this. And so it started there. And then as we started progressing and we formed the company that became Nootopia, one of the things we noticed deeply over the last 12 years was many of our clients, especially those clients that were over the age of 35 or so, they were low when they would send us in their testosterone tests, whether saliva or blood. We found that they were critically low, and part of it is the food that we're eating and the plastics that we're eating inadvertently and breathing.
Right.
And so I needed a way for them to raise their natural production of hormones up to a level that would be productive and effective. Because if you're taking nootropics, you want to have all of the other cofactors in your body. You want to have you don't want to have a high stress response. So you want to have your adaptogenic response set up. You want to have your antioxidant levels balanced. You want to be, critical in your B vitamins. You want to make sure that you've got enough B vitamins, and you want to have your hormone levels so that they're really rocking. So what we did is we made a sublingual solution that does 2 things. It increases, let me explain a little bit about how hormones are created. There's a thing called a cholesterol hormone cascade.
Mhm.
It's a pyramid. You can go look it up. Google Images will show you some views of it. But what it is all of our primary hormones are made from cholesterol. And if you don't have good cholesterol levels, then you don't have good hormone levels. And by the way, this is a warning for those of you that are on any kind of cholesterol blocking mechanisms like statins, right?
Yep.
Those are a death knell. In fact, those will cause typically, and again, I'm not a medical professional, but I act like one on the web. Those typically will cause hardening of arteries over time. And you need to cycle them if you're going to use them. You need to also be very, very sensitive. And the other thing you want to do is anytime you're taking an exogenous substance that might have some side effects that are not, we call them sides, right? In the bodybuilding.
Unwanted. Everything is a side effect. There's the wanted and unwanted side effects, basically.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So it's an unwanted side effect. Take a look at what your minimum viable dose can be by augmenting with something that actually improves the condition that you're trying to repair. And if you work with your medical professional or your naturopath in those, you'll often find that the med that you're taking can be augmented to the point where you're using so little med that even your doctor will say there's no way that's being effective. I have a good client of ours. He's been a client since we opened our doors, and he uses 1/16 of his SSRI. 1/16 of his SSRI. And the doctor said there's no freaking way that can be effective. But he uses it with our Upbeat and our power solution. And that with this DHEA sublingual puts him right back into perfect zone. He's very stable. He doesn't crash at the end of the day on it and have any of those things. So this sublingual capsule is made to not hijack, but complement the natural production of
potentiate
potentiate the androgen system in the body by you've got this cholesterol, and then you've got pregnenolone, and then you've got a branching effect.
Right.
So under pregnenolone, you've got on one side of the curve, you've got all the androgens, and you've got all the estrogenic activity and hormones happening on the other side of this curve. So the DHEA is predominant with a little bit of pregnenolone, a tiny amount of pregnenolone, as a signaling molecule to tell the body, hey, let's go make more of the testosterone and other androgens in the body, and let's do it fairly effectively, and let's do it with a very long half-life so the individual can take it a few days a week, a couple days a week, and they can get this very long sustained effect. Or you can take it more often, and you can actually raise levels in your body and do it very effectively. But what'll happen, again, and the other two byproducts of that is pregnenolone is known as a neuroprotective compound as well. It's very effective. It's made from a yam, so it's a very natural solution, and then DHEA in the same way. So what you're going to do is you're going to have some neuroprotection going on. You're going to feel an elevated sense of wakefulness and awareness, and anything you do, especially physical, is going to be amplified. So when you get into the gym, you're going to find it easier to hit the plates. And as Derek would say, you're going to be able to move more weight around. And the other thing is you're going to have a much greater endurance overall. So I consider it a super product. I take it almost daily.
Well, I want, please send me some, first of all. Let me tell you why. It's so fortuitous that I dropped this discussion about sweetbreads in, that people should start learning to use bovine sweetbreads in their soups because of the thymic peptides that are in there that are good for you. Guess what preserves the development of your thymus glands as you age? DHEA. There's studies that show that taking DHEA daily can actually revive the thymus glands. And the thymus glands are so important for repairing tissue, for the immune system, but way beyond that. The predominant peptide in a fetus is thymosin beta 4. And in fact, it holds the blueprint to switch on neonatal genes to make a heart, make a spleen, make a liver, make bones. That's thymosin beta 4. There are studies that have shown that in preemies, by giving them thymosin beta 4, once they're delivered or when it's still in the mother, that the body hurries up and finishes the brain and everything, and they're born more complete as premature babies. There's also evidence that thymosin beta 4 during the last trimester creates a bigger brain, and there's no arguing that bigger brains possess greater intelligence. So when we start looking at thymosin beta 4, we realize, wow, I'm old, I've got organs that aren't functioning right. How can I turn those neonatal genes back on? And that is through thymic peptides. Well, if you want your own thymus glands to stay healthy, you need DHEA as you age. So please send me some. Will you send me some?
Oh, yeah. In fact, what I'm going to send you. So we've been working diligently. This is a pre-release. We've been working really diligently on male performance. Matt Gallant and I, and Wade as well, of course, are really dedicated to not only reversing aging and those kinds of things. Like you talked about Brian Johnson's blueprint. I'm sure you've seen that and what he's been doing. But the other thing is, like, I don't really give a shit if I end up croaking at 90 or 100.
Right.
I just want to be a rock star up until the moment.
Until then, me too.
Yeah. Because I think that's where it's really at. And so in order to have that both cognitive and physical performance, I need to have my hormone levels cycling with me. I need to be neuroprotective on my brain. I need to have the anti-aging effects. DHEA is a critical anti-aging prohormone.
Yes.
Critical. And
the new term is pro-aging, because we can't stop aging, but we can age better. But the other thing to understand about DHEA is you should also get blood tests if you're taking it. Most women can get by with 5 to 10 milligrams a day, not much more than that. But a critical thing to pay attention to is if you have more adipose tissue, more of your DHEA has the potential to be converted into estradiol. That's an easy fix by increasing your zinc and vitamin C intake along with it. That's it. That's all you need to do. You don't need to go aromatase inhibitors or any.
No.
Vitamin C.
In fact, stay away from DIM. Stay away from aromatase inhibitors. What you'll find, especially, is there's been a number of direct to consumer radio hosted products that are supposed to be for prostate enlargement and those things, and you'll find most of them are dangerously bad as aromatase inhibitors. You need to have enough estrogen, men. You need to have enough estrogen to have skin flexibility, right? To have your brain clear, and also to get rid of what would be that jacked up roid rage type of effect, right? You have to have enough of that. You don't want so much of it that it's problematic. And what we did, by the way, Carl, in this, we have a combination that I'm going to send some to you.
Elisa's watching the show. She says, I want some too. So there you go. If you have the DH her A, that'll be a good one for her.
Yeah, it's great. Elisa, it's so we made it a DHEA, and that is a really, really incredible solution on the reverse side, specifically for females. And it is a hormone balancer. It's a hormone. It basically.
In fact, I know women who are going perimenopause, and instead of going and getting on a multi-hormone protocol, they just started taking DHEA because, like you say, in that cascade, it's up here. It fills all the other hormone pathways. So DHEA could be something that someone who doesn't want to go full HRT, and they know they're not feeling the way they could just take DHEA with a little pregnenolone, because that'll increase progesterone too. And progesterone is a 5-alpha reducer blocker. It keeps you from producing too much DHT, which can give you back knee and make your hair fall out and all that. So that's a brilliant compound to add those two together. Very good.
Yeah, it took a long time to find the right ratios. And so the men's ratio is obviously very different than the women's ratio. And then the cofactors that are in that sublingual capsule also improve cognitive performance and improve permeability through the blood-brain barrier for these particular compounds, increase acetylcholine. So it's a great combination. And the cool thing, being sublingual, you basically hold the capsule upright, tap it a little bit, powder settle a little bit, pour it under the tongue, tastes great. And in a minute to 2 minutes, it'll be completely dissolved. and it'll go right through, and it avoids liver metabolism as far as because it's going to be absorbed right into the tongue.
And that'll keep your thymus gland humming and keep you youthful. It will. There's no doubt in my mind that the thymic hormones or peptides are pure magic. And everybody's looking for all the next popular peptide when we've had thymosin beta-4 forever. And you got to take large doses. That's the problem. If you're injecting it, sometimes depending on your body weight, anywhere from 3 to 5 milligrams once a week, every 7 days. That when you look at the rodent studies, and the reversal of fibrotic tissue through the actin sequestration, the improvement in glandular and organ function, you're taking large dose once a week. Boom, that big bolus, and the trajectory lasts for months. So there's a lot of magic in that. But you can keep your own thymus gland working by increasing DHEA. When will the DHEA be available for the masses? Is it available?
This is it's coming out the first of next month, so I would love to. And again, I'm going to get you some. I'm also going to get you some of the products that we've been working on that are really serious testosterone boosters. I think I may have sent you some previously, and we've done.
Yes, it's a cap. It's a blue. Yes, or why? It's got a bunch of different pills inside of it, gel caps and stuff like that. I didn't know what it was, so I didn't endeavor it.
Oh man, well, yeah, we'll get you going on that. And it's a pattern. It's a 5 day and 2 day, 5 day and 2 day.
Right.
So you can take them in any ratio you want. But I think you'll find, especially in the gym and in the bedroom, I think you'll find the performance is dramatically increased. One of the things I wanted to mention is pregnenolone is deeply anti-inflammatory. You will find and again, we're only using a microdose on men. We're using more in women because that's much towards the androgen or estrogenic side of the cholesterol hormone cascade. But the anti-aging effects are profound. You'll find your skin elasticity will increase. Again, collagen formation and collagen is much higher. You'll also find the adaptogenic nature of it. Your ability to handle stress and not fret, it goes great at
and in fact, I know pregnenolone works because I experimented with very high doses. And I actually, I felt like I needed to go to sleep. Like it made me almost weary. I took a half a gram a day for a few days in a row.
Wow.
And I felt it. I do this with a lot of stuff. Like, okay, let me see if it makes me feel something. So I'll take a mega dose of something. I'll say, oh yeah, now I'm back down to the suggested dose. And pregnenolone was one of those that take a half a gram a day for a few days, and you feel so relaxed. That you just
There's a thing called the Ray Peat protocol, and maybe that's what you were following. But there was a doctor named Ray Peat who used it as a hormone management tool, and it can be very, very effective. You want to scale up slowly if you're a female, and get to a point where you actually feel this. It's so experiential. Like I took mine this morning, and it's one of those things where you notice about 10 minutes in, your wakefulness, your overall wakefulness, and your ability to deal with stuff is so improved. Rather than waiting for the cup of coffee to hit, it's great. Yeah.
I want to take our last commercial break because I got to run these commercials. Excuse me. We'll be right back. Merrick Health is a premium telehealth platform that connects customers with partnered providers from the comfort of your home. Merrick provides concierge service with your very own patient care provider as your health advocate. You'll go over all your needs and goals from improving sexual function, hair loss prevention, increased muscle, fat loss, and overall improved performance. Prescribed treatment options can be ordered and shipped directly to you if you meet the requirements. All from the comfort of your home. Go to shrnetwork.biz/Merrick Health. That's MAREKHEALTH and order your comprehensives and get 10% off with code SHR. Don't forget to add the lab analysis to have results reviewed with potential over-the-counter supplements or treatment recommendations. That's shrnetwork.biz/Merrick Health and use code SHR at checkout. Or order your own desired labs with code SHR and get 10% off your first lab order.
Hey guys, it's time to change your underwear, and it's time to change to Sheath. Sheath's underwear's revolutionary designs allows your man parts to hang the way they would naturally hang if you were not wearing underwear. And this improves the blood flow throughout the day to the twigs and berries. If you've never experienced wearing a pair of Sheath underwear, boy, is there an exciting experience waiting for you. Grab a pen and write this down. Go to shrnetwork.biz/sheath. That's SHEATH. And use the code SUPERHUMAN to save 20% off your first pair. And get this, if you're not completely satisfied, send them back for a full refund. That's shrnetwork.biz/sheath.
BPC is one of the most amazing supplements you can use. It's been shown to increase the speed of recovery, heal the gut, and do so many other things. BPC stands for Body Protection Compound, and it's a naturally occurring peptide in the body. Used by professional athletes and weekend warriors alike, there has always been an obstacle in the way of average people using BPC, and that is it was injectable only. Not any longer, thanks to Nutrineeds. We now have oral BPC, and it works. Go to shrnetwork.biz/Nutrineeds, NUTRANEEDS. Use the code SHR and save 10% off your bottle of BPC. Feel better, recover faster, train harder. Nutrineeds. Hey, this is Carl Lenore. I am the inventor of GunLeash. Over 500,000 handguns are lost in the United States every year. If you carry a gun like I do, you are 300 times more likely to lose your gun. And 15% of those guns will end up in criminals' hands and used in the commission of a crime. GunLeash solves that problem. GunLeash is a patented, no-tracking proximity device the size of a postage stamp. It will alert you as soon as your gun is outside of your range, so you can never leave your gun behind. To learn more and to be notified when GunLeash is available at the end of January, go to gunleash.com and get on our mailing list. GunLeash. Never lose your gun, never leave your gun.
This is the Superhuman Channel, where we use oxygen for the power of good.
Welcome back.
So nice to see you, man. And by the way,
Yes.
that last ad, I am so excited. I got the video.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
do you think
yeah, it's cool, man. I like what you're doing.
We have just this morning, somebody sent me a video from TikTok. The former chief of police of San Obispo, California Police Department, honestly said, she went into a restaurant, she went to use the restroom, even though her holster was clipped to her belt, she had to take it off because she was afraid it was going to slide off. She left it in the restroom. She walked out. A couple minutes later, she realized it, came back, the gun was gone.
Oh.
Lost guns are a big problem, and we have a solution. We have a solution. And we're still in the Angel Fund round. If any of you think you're interested in seeing the presentation, it's on video. I can send it to you. Email me at carl.lenore@gunleash.com, and I'll send it to you. We're looking for a couple more angels to get involved here. So there you go. All right. So
is that Kickstarter or fundable? Or
we're doing a Kickstarter in 3 weeks, but
Great.
Kickstarter is more for publicity. It's like doing Shark Tank. Like people learn about it. It's not. You really can't raise the money you want. Although we're only going to try to raise $20,000 on Kickstarter, because the way Kickstarter works is you got to raise all the money in 1 month, and if you don't get penny one. You don't get any of it.
Right.
So we're just going to put it up there for $20,000. We'll have a couple different packages where you'll get special discounts, a free year, a couple of beacons, blah blah blah. But we may be surprised because we're using the exact model that Tile used. And they were looking for $20,000 and they got $200,000.
Yeah.
So if enough people spread the news and think, wow, this is an exciting opportunity, maybe we will hit more than 20,000, but that's not the objective. I actually have already established inventory financing. So all I need now is money to execute our marketing plan. That's it. And we're ready to go. Yeah.
No, it's great. I've been involved in a handful of successful Kickstarter campaigns. One, we raised 13 million. One raised 2.7, and another did just under 100,000.
Right.
So
I mean, we may
Yeah.
surprise ourselves. We're just going to ask
Yeah.
for a reasonable amount of money and see what happens. That's all.
no,
'Cause
I think it's really great.
This is a huge white space. There's nothing I can look at and go, oh, we're going to do this like them. There's nothing out there like this. And a lot of investors don't like that. They think, well, there's nothing out there because it's not necessary.
Right.
Okay? So we're really making a market right now. So anyway,
I love it.
one more time, check out Color Genius. Go to shrnetwork.biz/bioptimizers. Use the code SHR10 for 10% off, not only of Color Genius, but everything at the website. And try making a fat bomb with it and a little creatine, and you'll enjoy your workouts. I promise you. Mark, thanks for being here today, brother.
So great to see you, Carl. I really appreciate it, man. And by the way, if you happen to have the shiny side up and you're headed west this year from Jersey, come visit us here.
I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. Aren't you in Tennessee?
No, I'm in Iowa. I'm in Burlington, Iowa.
Okay. Yeah, I like it there. Well, we want to go to see Mount Rushmore, so you're not far from there, right?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. And Jackson Brown's playing around the area in just a couple months, so it might be worthwhile to come on and do a concert.
I'll see him again because I was in one of his music videos when I was a kid, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Go find Tender Is the Night and watch the entire video and see if you can find me. I do a cameo in Tender Is the Night. I was living in Vegas at the time, and we were in front of the Four Queens Hotel, and I was asked to be in the video.
How old were you at that time?
26, 27.
Yeah, amazing, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, he's still strong. I saw him just a couple of years ago, and he still can rock it. He's great.
Oh, I know. He's great. He's fantastic. It's really funny because I had taken my friend Al Fasano to his birthday, and we went to the Golden Nugget. We went to the Chinese restaurant there. It used to be Lily Langtree's. And we were walking out, and you see cameras, and I see this tall, willowy blonde. It was Daryl Hannah.
Yeah.
And I got a guy said to me, "You want to be in a music video?" I was like, "Yeah." And then they told me what to do. And then afterwards, we talked to Jackson Brown and Daryl Hannah for a little bit. And then next thing you know, like kids were contacting me from New York. "Oh, we saw you in a music video." Yeah, I was just an extra. I said, I really wasn't. I was just happy to be there.
But your MTV moment, man, that rocks. That's awesome.
Everybody thought like I was rocking. I was like, nah, I'm still living in an apartment. There's nothing going on here. Yeah, but I was in the right place at the right time, and that's what life is all about.
Love it, man. Well, thank you again, Carl. Really appreciate you, man.
We'll do a show about DH He and DH Hurray as soon as that product is out. Okay.
Let's make it happen. All right. I'm going to send you some stuff to get you up to speed on that.
Please. Thank you. All right. Talk to you soon. Right. And thanks for being here, everybody. We'll be on YouTube in a few more days, and all these videos will be up there. Thanks for being here.
Dig it. Welcome back.